Tasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhisham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamiyam Narati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guruna Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Tanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sayitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Namitam Sha Radhanatha Samarabhya Madhvamunim Chamadhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryandam Vande Shri Guru Parampara. Hare Krishna. So today we will start reading from Brahamasamhita Chapter 5 and text number 34 and 35. In previous two verses, we have discussed about how the Lord's potencies, they are unique and inconceivable. We can't understand them through our senses, through our intelligence, and neither with our own with mind. Because his bodily functions that has explained by Brahmaji, that any part of a body can perform any different function of a different bodily part. So in today's two verses, Brahmaji is explaining that even by meditating on the Lord through Ashtanga Yoga, one cannot achieve him even though he performed that practices for billions of years. And that's why he says, Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamya Vayoratapi manaso muni pungavana Sopyasti yada prapadasinya vichintya tattve Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. He says, some yogis desiring to attain the supreme absolute truth, who lies beyond the realm of contemplation, follow the path of strictly regulating the breathing processes. The prominent sages who advocate the philosophy of the formless absolute follow the path of a philosophical discussion to ascertain the formless impersonal Brahman by the process of gradually eliminating the unreal. After pursuing these paths for hundreds of millions of years, they may reach only far as the tips of the toes of his lotus feet. I worship that original personality, Sri Govinda. So that is a translation of this particular verse. And let's see what Sripad Jiva Goswami, he comments on this verse. So he says that the advocates of the impersonal conception may, after performing rigorous sadhana for billions of years, reach only as far as the tips of the toes of Sri Krishna's lotus feet. The purport is that the best they can only achieve perception of the light emanating from his divine lotus feet from very far away. It is absolutely impossible for them to see Sri Govinda being served by his associates in Goloka Vrindavan. How will it be possible for Jnanis and Yogis to have a darshan of Sri Govinda being served by his associates in Gokul? when it is astonishing even for a premi bhakta such as Sri Narada. Such a Gyanis and Yogis cannot even enter that place. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 69th chapter and 2nd verse, it has been stated, Chitram bataita yekena vapusha yugapata prathak gruheshu dvash ashtasahastram striya eka udavahat. On one occasion, the spectacle that Devarshi Narad beheld when he went to Dwarka filled with wonder, filled him with a wonder. Bhagavan Sri Krishna was marrying 16,000 beautiful young ladies in separate ceremonies, which were being conducted in 16,000 different royal palaces simultaneously. In one place, he was accepting the hand of the bride. In other, he was offering oblations in the fire sacrifice. Somewhere else, where the knot had already been tied, he was circumambulating the fire, and in all the other places, he was engaged in many different aspects of the marriage ritual. Upon seeing this, even the omniscient Sri Narada was astonished. It is also stated in the Kupalatapani Upanishad, text number 21, Eko vashi sarvagaha Krishna idyaha Eko apisan bahuda yo vibhati. Sri Krishna is the one supreme controller of all controllers, and he is all pervading. Although he is one by the influence of his inconceivable potency, he manifests as incarnations who are his personal expansions, as the living entities, who are his separated subjective portions, and as innumerable associates, who are his bodily expansions. He is the incomparable and unsurpassed reality. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 33 chapter and text number 3, it is stated, Atmeshwaro atarkya sahasra shaktihi. Bhagavan alone is the soul of all. He is the controller of all, being equipped with unlimited, inconceivable powers that defy mundane reasoning. In the Skanda Puran and the Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva, chapter 5, text number 22, it is stated, Achintyaha khalu ye bhavaha natamas tarkena yojayet. The substances and moods that lie beyond material nature have been called inconceivable, which is like atarkya achintya. They are absolutely incomprehensible to the power of a human intelligence, which is limited and full of material defects. Similarly, we find this statement in Vedanta Sutra, second part, first chapter and 11th verse. Tarka apratishthana. Logic is not the basis for understanding anything. This is because any conclusion established by logic today will be refuted tomorrow by another person with a new logic. Therefore, the Vedanta Sutra also stated in the second part, first chapter, text number 27, Shrutestu Shabda Mulavat. You should understand the inconceivable supreme personal absolute truth only through the statements of Shruti, because they are the teachings of Bhagavan. The statements of the Vedas are fundamental evidences because they are free from 4 defects of mistakes, illusion, defective perception, and desire to cheat others. They are reliable statements received through the system of Guru Parampara. The inconceivable absolute truth can be known only by his perceptorial succession. In this regard, the commentary on Vedanta Sutra reasons that, thus, as the influence of a gemstone, a mantra, or a potent medicinal herb is beyond the comprehension of the intelligence of the common man, so are the inherent powers of absolute truth. The supernatural substance can only be known by the common and divine power of undivided pure bhakti. So here Brahmaji is explaining a very wonderful thing that we need to understand. Tarko apratishta shrutoyor vibhinna nasava munir yasya matam na bhinna mahajano yenagata sapanta. If you want to understand the Lordship, then you can understand him through logic, because logic is based on the mind, and mind is material, and something which is material, through that you can understand, which is beyond this material perception. As we all have a senses, as explained in the scripture, that we have three different bodies, and these three different bodies have their different perception, their different purpose. Like there is a Sukshma Sharira, there is a Karya Sharira, and there is a Karana Sharira. So what we have, this particular, which is called as the Sthula Sharira, which is made up of 5 different material elements. Panchi Krita Panchamahabhutayi Kritam. So this is made up of 5 different elements, which is like air, fire, earth, water, and space, ether. So this body is product of the material energy and the material elements. So do you think that through this material body you're going to conceive about the transcendental subject matter? That's not possible, because this material body has its own nature, and it's called as a vikaravat, shad vikaravat. So shad vikara, it is subjected to 6 things. So what are those? So those are like shariram asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinate, apekshiyate, and vinashyati. So these are the 6 transformation this body undergoes. Shariram asti, it exists as a potential form in the mother's womb. Second thing, jayate, it takes birth. Vardhate, it grows. Viparinamate, it transforms. Like we have a baby body, then we grow, then childhood, then youthful, and then old body, which is emaciated, which is called as a apakshiyate, means it gets decays, declines, and ultimately vinashyati, it perishes. So this is what we have, this material body. So through this material body, it's not possible to understand the transcendental subject matter. And logic is always based on what we see, what we perceive, what we hear, what we talk, what we think. So all these functions, they depends upon this material body. Either gross body, through which you can perceive, and subtle body, through which you can feel. But both are material. So with this material body, it's not possible to understand the transcendental subject matter, because Lord and his body, there is no difference. He is a Satchid Ananda Vigraha. His body is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So through material body, it's not conceivable. So few people, they may think that, oh, uh, I will start to come out of this body or control all these elements that you can see in this material world. And for that reason, they perform severe austerities through Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga has an eightfold different process through which they can try to understand the material elements. So they perform severe meditation for millions of years. Anthasta kodi shatavatsara sampragamyo. Shatavatsara sampragamyo. They can spend time for millions of years. But through that practices, what they can see? Only they can see the light emanating from the toes of their Lordship. They can't go beyond that. They can't perceive the transcendental pastime of the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, which he performed in his eternal abode. That's not possible for them. Then there are some people who try to understand Muni Pungavana, who are greatest in the human beings, as a Muni. Muni means a thinker. So there are impersonalists. They try to understand the Lord through the knowledge. But again, knowledge is best and perceived through this material body only. So anything perceived through this material body is always has four defects. And what are those four defects? One thing is that because this body is temporary, so it is imperfect. Because to see something, you need to have two things. One thing is eye, and second is eyesight. And third most important thing is light, the presence of Surya. So it said that you can't perceive the reality through your imperfect senses. You may have eyes, but if you don't have eyesight, you can't see anything. You may have eyesight, you may have eyes, but there is a darkness. You can't see anything. If something is too close to your eyes, you can't see that properly. If something is too far, you can't see properly. Ears. Beyond certain decimals, you can't hear. Where it is a low or where it is a high decimals, you can't hear those sound waves. And that's why you need these machineries like radios, which you have to tune. And after tuning them, you can catch that waves, and that through that transistor or through that radio system, you will be able to hear it. Otherwise, nothing. Simple example, like nowadays we have this all electronic gadgets. Like in my childhood, we never thought about that I can able to talk to people who are staying in another continent, totally in another time zone, and I can see them visually and I can talk to them. And now it's happening. For common man, it's a miracle because they don't know the technical details about that. They may think that, oh, it's really amazing. Because a common man can't pursue that facts, that techniques through his intelligence or through his senses. He need to have some understanding from the person who can make him understand that. If that's the thing with the material knowledge and material subject and material objects in this world, then what to speak of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead? Do you think that can you able to understand him through tarka, through arguments? No. And that's why it is said in the Shrutis that tarko apratishtaha, it can't be established through arguments, through logic. Shrutayor vibhinnaha, There are different Shrutis and they explain different about that. You can find a same sage who can speak about the absolute truth in same manner. Everyone has their own opinion. Because generally what happens, if you want to put forward some logic to establish something, maybe after 100 years, 200 years, someone else will come and he will refute all that logic and he will put forward some another logic. And that's what's happening with the people who try to understand and who try to pursue the Supreme Personality of a Godhead through knowledge. Because knowledge is beyond our capacities. Someone has some capacities and he may establish something, but someone else will come who has more capacity than him to understand, to absorb, to express, and he will put forward that subject matter in a totally different way. So not through the knowledge you can establish the absolute truth. Then what is the way through which you can establish or you can understand, you can perceive the Supreme Personality of the Godhead? And that is only by the association of devotees. Even sometimes the Premi Bhaktas, the most intimate lovers of the Lord, they won't understand the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Then what to speak of you and me, who are the mere soul, who are suffering and who are entangled, covered in this material world? And Jiva Goswami Pad, he quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, wonderful narration about Devarshi Narad, who is known that he has understood the absolute truth through his sadhana and through his devotion to the Lord. But such a person also gets bewildered by seeing the Lord's pastime. And then he narrates that wonderful pastime when Lord Krishna got married with the 16,100 princes simultaneously. Not at one place, but in different locations, in 16,100 palaces. And Devarshi Narad was wondering, because at one palace, a bride, he was accepting a bride, second palace, their knot is already tied, other places he is offering oblations into the fire. So Naradji was totally amazed by seeing that. He said, how? So even the dearest devotee like Narada, they get confused, they get amazed, they get wonder by seeing these inconceivable pastimes of the Lord. Then what to speak of you and me to understand their Lordship through logic or through knowledge? And there is only one way to understand him. That is, as explained in the previous verse, that Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. Only if you become his devotee and if he is pleased with you, he, as he explains in Bhagavad Gita, that Nashayami Atma Bhavasvat Jnana Deepena Bhasvata Tesham Evanokam Partha. To show mercy upon them who are constantly engaged in remembering and discussing about him, he ignites that light of knowledge in his heart, which takes away the ignorance. And then he is able to understand, perceive the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. In the next verse, which is the explanation about Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva. See, the whole Brahmasamhita, which establishes the Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva, which has established by Lord Gauranga. Simultaneously, equal, same, and different. That is Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, which has explained in Bhagavad Gita also by their Lordship. We'll see in further discussion. So let's discuss about text number 35, where Brahmaji, he praised their Lordship and he says, Ekopyaso rachayitum jagadanda kotim yashaktirasti jagadanda chaya yadantaha Andantarastha Govindamadipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So through this verse, Lord Brahma is going to establish a most important philosophy which has propagated by Lord Gauranga. So Lord Gauranga, who is Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared like 536 years back in the place known as the Navadvip, and as explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Ayam. Lord Chaitanya is none other than Srimati Radharani and Krishna. He is having the bodily luster like a Srimati Radharani and heart of Srimati Radharani. But he is Krishna. And why he appeared? He appeared to taste the love which his most intimate devotees, they have it for him, like a love of Srimati Radharani that she has for him. And he only actually discovered this particular Samhita when he was on the tour of Dakshin Bharat, when he reached place called as a Adikeshava temple near the Trivandrum. Because here Brahmaji says, Eko api asau rachitum jagadanda koti. Even though he is a one, but he has created these innumerable universes through his Shakti, through his potencies. And not only that, he has created them, but he has manifested himself in each and every universe. So here Brahmaji says that potency and the possessor of potency are one undifferentiated principle. So there is no difference between the Lord and his potency. The potency by which billions of universes are created is situated inseparably within the Lordship. All the universes are situated within Bhagavan, and by the influence of his inconceivable potency, Bhagavan is also fully present in every atom of all the universes. I worship that original personality, Sri Govinda. So here he's explaining that how he is inconceivable, because his potency and he is totally different, but they are same and the one. Through his potency, he is creating the material universe, and he is manifesting himself in each and every aspect of this material world, but still he is not there. And this is what inconceivable. How to understand that? So Srila Jiva Goswami Bhatt, he gives his commentary on this particular verse, and he tries to make us understand what Brahmaji wants to say about. And he writes here, although Sri Krishna is one, he creates everything and pervades every atom in the creation. He is smaller than the smallest and greater than the greatest. The following description of his inconceivable potency is found in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 13th chapter, text number 46 and 55. 46 to 55, there is an explanation about this particular aspect. So he says, Tavat sarve vatsupalaha pashyato ajasya tat kshanat uddarshanyat ghanashyamaha pita kausheya vasaha. So this particular pastime, which is entitled as a Brahma Vimohan Leela, where Lord has mesmerized Lord Brahma's intelligence. Although Brahma is none other than the whole manifestation of intelligence. His whole body is intelligence, nothing else. And that Brahmaji, He got confused. Why he got confused? Because what happened once, as the Lordship and his friends, they were sitting and they're having their lunch. And Brahmaji came there because he heard a lot from other people that, oh, this Krishna is none other than the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. So he came to testify that whether it's a real, it's a fact, it's a truth. So he came there and he saw that, oh, this small young boy, which looks beautiful, but he is with his friends, and what he's doing, he's tending cows. And now he's sitting encircled with his friends and having food with them. And how is eating? Like Madhumangal, he brought nice chas, buttermilk. And he just opened it from his tiffin and he drank it. And Krishna saw that. He said, hey, Madhu, I want that. As you see, when kids, they sit around and they see something is good in others' plate, they wanted to grab it. So same way here, Krishna, he was showing his pastimes, Naravat, like a human being, like a common human being. He was performing his pastime. So he said, I'm interested, hey, give me. But Madhu, he was holding that buttermilk in his mouth like that. So what Krishna did, he came and he just slapped on his both cheeks, and that whole buttermilk came out. He took it in his hand and he drank it. And Brahmaji saw that, and his foreheads, they started spinning. What's happening? Ah, that's the person, the supreme controller, who drinks remnants from others' mouth. I can't believe. So what he did, he took away all the calves, and he just ran away. And he hid them somewhere in one of the caves. Then what happened? The kids, they were not able to see or not able to hear the mourning of calves. So they thought that let's go and see. So they asked Krishna, you be here, we'll just go see and come back immediately. So they went. And it took a long, nobody came back. So Krishna was wondering what happened. So he went back and he saw nobody's there, no cows, no kids. And then he understood. Brahmaji has done this mischief. So immediately what he did, he manifested himself in the form of all the calves and in the form of all the kids. That's what I explained in this 11 verses from 10 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. The influence of his inconceivable potency is such that although Krishna is one, he assumed the form of innumerable calves and cowherd boys. As Brahma looked on again and again, all those forms became sham colored, like a fresh rain clouds, Ghanashamaha. And all were attired in yellow upper garments. All the forms were resplendent, which has with the 4 arms and held the conch, disc, make, and lotus flower. Their heads were adorned with the crowns, their ears with earrings, their chest with the necklaces, and their necks with the garlands of forest flowers. All of them looked beautiful with a clockwise curl of hairs on their right breast, and 3 lines marking their throats, and the Kaustuba jewel ornamenting their necks. They had bracelets on their wrist, ankle belts on their feet, belts on their vest, and rings on their fingers. Each form was decorated from the head to toe with a garland of a fresh young tulsi leaves, which had been offered by some immensely pious personalities. And they were all fulfilling the heart's desire of all their devotees. The moving and non-moving living entities, from Brahma down to insignificant species of lives or pieces of straw, all assumed forms in which they performed varieties of worship by dancing, singing, playing musical instruments, and offering different types of paraphernalia. The expansions of Bhagavan were surrounded by the personified mystic power, headed by the Anima, by the opulence headed by the Maya, and by the 24 elements headed by the Mahatattva. All the ingredients of the universe, such as a time, acquired nature, impressions, desire, fruitive activities, and the three modes of material nature assumed personified forms. And Brahma saw that they were all worshipping the expansions of Krishna. Their conception of being independent from him was completely disappeared by his glories. Then the cowherd boys, all the substances from unlimited numbers of universes, as well as the multitude of presiding deities in those universes, entered into Krishna and again manifested for him. Then again, Jagadanda Chayaha, Brahmaji saw that Parabrahma, from whom all animate and inanimate worlds are manifest, along with his cows, calves, and cowherd boys, which were all non-different from him. Although Bhagavan Sri Krishna possesses a distinctly human-like appearance, he has no outside or inside. He is smaller than the smallest and greater than the greatest. He is all-pervading. He is not obstructed by past and future time. He is the cause and the effect of the universe. Since he is all-pervading, he is inside and outside the cosmic manifestation. The form of the universe is also him. Because cause and the effect may be seen as non-different, he is unmanifest in the sense that he is beyond the range of material sense perception. And that's why Sripad Shankaracharya also says that Narayano Paro Avyakta. Vyakta means which is manifested in front of us, which we can perceive through our material senses. But Avyakta means which is not manifested in front of our eyes, even though it is there, but we can't perceive them through our material senses. He is praised by the Shruti mantras such as Anor Aniyam Mahato Mahiya. Again, in the Gopaladapani Upanishad, text number 23, it is stated, Yo asau sarveshu bhuteshu avishya bhutani vidhate savo hi swami bhavati yo asau sarva bhutatma gopala eko deva sarva bhuteshu gudaha. Only Lord Sri Krishna is Parabrahma. He is not only free from birth and decay, but is completely untouched by the six waves: hunger, thirst, aging, death, lamentation, and bewilderment. He is eternally in one form and free from deterioration. He is the center of the universe. He is tending wish-fulfilling cows, Kamadhenus, in order to make them joyful. He is also present in all the Vedas, who are loudly proclaiming his glories. He remains within all moving and non-moving living entities, and he regulates them. Such is the nature of that cowherd boy, whom we call as a Govinda, who is the master of all of us. Gopal is the soul and self of all living entities. Very wonderful statement. Gopal is the soul and self of all living entities. Although the Lord is one, he is hidden within all animate beings. Thus, the fact that the absolute truth is possessed of personal attribute is proven by the evidence such as this. So here is the Achinta Bheda Veda Tattva has established. Even Lord Krishna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, in text 4, he says that Maya tadamidam jagad avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avastitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्यमे योग ऐश्वर्यं भूतभ्रूणश्च भूतस्थो ममात्मा भूतभावना. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulences. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. Then how to understand? To simplify that, Lord himself gives an example. He says, Yatha akasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani ityopadare. Understand that as a mighty wind blowing everywhere, rest always in the sky. All created beings rest in me. So here he says that even though his presence is there, but we can't perceive. Because he's the source, and being the source of everything, his manifestation is there. So let me give you a wonderful example. It's like a seed. You take any seed, in that seed, the big tree is also there, which is all branches with fruits and everything. So when you saw that seed, what happens? That gets manifested. When it gets manifested, that seed is there also in that tree. It has its own branches, leaves, twigs, everything. But still, it's not a seed. But seed is the cause of this tree. So when that tree is presented there, that means that seed is also there. And because of that seed, the whole tree has manifested. So seed never gets destroyed, but it gets transformed. But here, Lord never gets transformed. I just giving an example. Don't use logic behind that. Oh, seed get transformed, then there is no seed. The same way, Lord is always there. And because of his presence, everything, inanimate, animate, everything functions in this material world. Otherwise, it's not possible to understand that. One more thing that we need to understand. Here, Lord says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that Matsthani Sarva Bhutani, all the living entities, they rest upon me. Nacha Aham Teshasu, but I'm not there with them. And still we see that he says that Vasudeva Maham. Vasudeva means Sarvatra Vasati Ityasa, who resides, who pervades everywhere. That is Vasudeva. So how to understand that? Ye yathamam prapadyante. As he says that the way you want to reciprocally respond with him, so that reciprocally he responds with you. It depends upon you, how you want to perceive him. As I think last Saturday we had a discussion about nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, I think 10th canto, 43th chapter. Mallanam Ashnim Nram Naravaro Strinam Smaro Murtiman. Where the one person, when he entered into the arena of Kamsa, he manifested in different ways to different people who were looking at him. For the Mallas, the fighters or wrestlers who were there, like Mushtik and Chanura, for them, he was like a Ashni. Ashni means thunderbolt. And same time, that same person, he manifested like a Cupid for the women in Mathura who were there to see that wrestling match. Mallanam Ashnim Striyam Smaro Murtima. Nradam Naravaro. For the kings who were there in that arena, for For the men in that arena who were there to see that match, for them, he looked like a Narasreshta. He is greatest among men. Gopanam Swajano. For the Gopas, the coward boys, they were thinking, hey, he's my friend, you know. For them, he's nothing beyond that. And for example, when he killed Kamsa, then Subala, he ran into the arena, he jumped on Krishna and he sat on his chest. And he said, see, I'm powerful than Krishna. And Krishna, happily he accepted and he started smiling with that. And just before a time, Mrityur Bhojapate, he was the death personification for the Kamsa, who looked at him in that way. Virat Avidushan. For the fools, he is like a Virata Purusha, the man in the Vishwarupa. Shastam Swapitro Shishu. And for Shastam Kshitibhuja, like the kings who were there were dominating the Mother Earth, being a king and ruling. For him is like a Kshitibhujam. For them, he is like a Kshitibhuja. The whole horizon is like his hand, so everything is controlled by him. Even all these kings, they looked upon him like that. And he just maybe a 9 or 11, 12 years kid, you know. Swapitro Shishu. For his own parent, like Mother Devaki and Vasudeva, when they looked at him, for them he used to look like a tender baby, you know, who is totally dependent upon their protection. Tattvam Param Yogina. The great yogis who were there, for him, is like the object of their meditation. Parama Tattva. Vrishninam Paradevateti. For the Vrishnis, in which dynasty Lord was born, for them, he's like their Paradevata. Not Kula Devata, but Paradevata. See, that's the beauty of their Lordship. The way you want to see him, that way he manifests in front of you. As Hiranyakashipu, he asked Prahlad, is there your Lord? Prahlad said, yeah, my Lord is everywhere. Ito Narsimha, Parato Narsimha. Lord is here, Lord is there. Bahir Narsimha, Hridaya Narsimha. He is outside, he is inside the heart. Then Hiranyakashipu asked, is he there in that pillar? Even though he himself got built that palace, and he asked Prahlad, and that palace was built before Prahlad was born. So he was knowing what is there inside the pillar. But he was not knowing that Lord is inside that pillar. He was knowing only the stone or whatever made up of that pillar. But because Prahlad had a vision of seeing their Lordship everywhere, he is a Vasudeva Parayana. He was totally absorbed in seeing their Lordship everywhere. Lord is called as a Vasudeva. There are two different meanings. One is son of Vasudeva, that's why he is a Vasudeva. And second is Sarvatra Vasati Itisa, who stays, pervades everyone and in everything. That is Vasudeva. And Prahlad was a Mahatma since he was born. And as Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that, Samahatma Sudarabha, Vasudevam Idam Sarvam, who understand that Lord Vasudeva is everything. And with full confidence, he just looked upon that pillar and said, yes, my Lord is there. And keeping faith in Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu, he attacked on that pillar with his club and he smashed that pillar. And what happens? Rest of the history. Everybody knows. Lord manifested himself from that pillar and he killed Hiranyakashipu. So you have to decide in what way you want to see the Lord. You want to see him as a personification of a death, or you want to see him the most lovable object which can give you the real eternal happiness that you long for in this material world. See, generally impersonalists, their conception of a what we call liberation, mukti, is that Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti, that one should get rid of the highest kind of sufferings. But that's not what devotee wants, you know. Look at the prayers that has been offered by Maharani Kunti. She never says that, let me get rid of all the sufferings. What she prays for? She says, Vipadashantu satvata tatra tatra jagatguru bhavatam darshanam syat. Oh my Lord, give me more and more sufferings. Why? Because in the sufferings, I know you are always with me. And I want you to be with me always. So put me in the suffering. Because you can't see your devotees suffering. So you always come and help them out. So I'm asking for vipada, the obstacles, the unhappiness in the life. Why? Because that's what takes you closer to the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. So it depends upon you, how you want to perceive their Lordship. Because He is everywhere if you want to perceive Him, and He is nowhere if you don't want to see Him. Like Duryodhana, he don't wanted to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. In front of him, he manifested the Vishwarupa, but he was not able to see him. By seeing that, he said he is a mystic. He is just a magician. So that was his perception. But when that same form and greater than that form was shown to Arjuna, then what Arjuna said, Param Dhamma Param Brahma Pratyaksha Paramam Puna. He started praising that Lord. You are the abode of each and every one. So it's your way to see the Supreme Personality. And that has explained in the next verse, that bhava bhavito, how the person can relate himself with the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. And that we'll discuss in next session. So if you have any question, any comments, you can type it down. We'll try to answer them in our next session. And if there are any mistakes, all those are mine. And if something that you can carry on or you can go with in your life, so all those are from my spiritual master and our Guru, disciple succession. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.